Welcome. I am going to record this so that Barry can send it out if any of you are having any trouble with the audio or with the with any of the presentations. So thank you all for joining us this afternoon. I know this is a little bit different, but I wanted to just let you know who we are today. Our hosts are Barry Guttermanson, and my name is Kim Lucy. I'm the Director of Business Development for Western Canada for Viking. So I'm just going to let Barry say a few words to welcome you, and then we'll get started with the presentation.
Thanks, Kim. My name is Barry Guttermanson. I'm with HotWinters.ca Travel Medical Insurance and Travel Agency. Thank you all for connecting with us. I really appreciate it. We've got a diverse group here, I see. We've got some people who have already scheduled to be cruising with us. We've got a number of people that are clients of our travel insurance side of the business. We've got some people who have attended seminars that we've done throughout the U.S. and Canada, and a few others as well. I'm really excited about cruising with Viking. Looking forward to this group that we have scheduled for just over a year from now. Viking is smaller ships and fewer people than if you've ever cruised on an ocean cruise before. I know my wife is going to like it because she's going to appreciate the stable ride, and I know we're going to have a great time. Viking certainly allows you to get up and close with the culture of the area, and that's one of the things I'm really looking forward to. I like Viking's line that you spend less time getting there and more time being there. I think that really sums it up nicely. I think everyone will also appreciate how the pricing is all-inclusive, so you don't have the surprises that you might see elsewhere. So in October of 16, you're going to see that we are doing the Grand European. I think that's going to be great. I've never been to Budapest myself. I have been along the Rhine, but I've driven it, so this time I'm going to see from the water side. This is going to be a really good trip because the tours are escorted, the guides are local and knowledgeable of the area, so I think we're going to have just a fantastic trip. And I'm hoping, being in October, though it could be a little cooler, I think it'll be nice because we might see some really nice fall colors when we're cruising along the river. So thanks again for joining us this evening, and Kim, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You did a great job. It was a good segue. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get you guys involved a little bit. I want to find out a little bit about you and what you've done and how in-depth I need to go in terms of our conversation. So on your screen, you do have an opportunity to answer some questions that I'm going to post for you. And the questions are going to open up, and all you need to do is click on one of the answers, and I'll just give it a couple more minutes, and then we'll get started. Well, this is a very experienced group from the look of it. Okay, I'm going to close it, and I'm going to share it, and you'll see that we have about 86% of you have already cruised before, so that's fantastic. That means that I don't have quite as much work in trying to explain what a cruise is all about. I'm just going to give you one last question, and we'll just see, hopefully. Oops. Looks like you're locked. Did I lose you? Sorry so much for that. One second. It's like I lost you for a minute. Okay, there we go. And I've got one last quick question for you. And that is, I just wanted to check how many of you have actually done a river cruise. Oh wow, looks like I've got lots and lots of first timers, so that's fantastic. Okay, so let me close, let me share. We've got 100% of you who've never done a river cruise, so that's great. It means that I'll go into a little bit more detail with you, and we'll just take it from there. So let me start with what a river cruise is. And for those of you that have cruised, which is a large number of you, this will, there are a lot of similarities. So what I love most about river cruising, and just a little bit of background about myself, I've actually been in this industry for about 30 years. I've worked with large ocean cruise lines as well as river cruise lines. And I loved ocean cruising, and I still really, really enjoy it. But a few years ago, somebody very kindly introduced me to river cruising. It was something I'd never seen or heard about, even though I'd lived and traveled in Europe extensively. It was one of those experiences that I went on. I came back and it was like, why didn't somebody tell me about this before? It really took me back to what I loved about ocean cruising when I first started cruising, which was back in the late 80s and early 90s, when ships were a lot smaller, when we sailed right into the heart of a lot of the little islands. We didn't have to deal with all the security that we do now. So one of the things that I love about river cruising is the fact that the ships are small. They're 150 to 200 passengers. They are, but you still have that wonderful experience of unpacking once. So you don't have that hassle of checking in and checking out. It's also leisurely and casual, so you don't have to pack as many clothes as you do on some of the ocean ships. You don't need a jacket and tie, gentlemen. You don't need a tuxedo. Ladies, no ball gowns and no cocktail dresses are required. So it's a much more relaxed kind of experience. And then, of course, you have this wonderful changing scenery as you go through to enjoy the beautiful heart of the city access. And this is one of the beautiful scenes that you'll see as we cruise through the Rhine en route to Budapest, or going in the opposite direction. What you're looking at here is Cat's Castle, tucked up on the top of the hill. You can see the beauty of the scenery. And actually, this is a photograph that was taken during the fall, so you can see how the leaves are starting to change and how beautiful it's going to be. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous. So we have the thing I love about river cruising is that when we dock right in the heart of the city, and you step off in many of these ports of call, and literally across the street are all the things you want to see, whether it's the sights, whether it's a wonderful restaurant, whether it's a little boutique, or maybe it's just a little cafe where you can sit and have a glass of wine and enjoy it. The other thing I love about river cruising is that it's virtually all-inclusive. There are no surprises. Pretty much everything is paid for in advance, so there are not a lot of added extras, and I'll come back to that. But you don't have that situation where you open the door on the last day of your cruise and you have what I always call the ransom note waiting for me, or you might have your visa bill come in a month later and think, oh my God, what was I thinking? So with this, a lot of it is paid for in advance, and so there's no surprises, and you don't need to worry about extra costs. Viking's been around for a long time. We actually started back in the late 70s and early 80s as an ocean cruise line. The gentleman you see here is Mr. Tor Hagen. He's the CEO of our company and certainly a visionary. He saw an opportunity. He sold the Royal Viking line in the early 90s. He saw an opportunity in Russia in the mid 90s to purchase 4 ships and to start to bring North Americans into Russia to explore the history and the culture and all of the wonderful music and dance that is available there. So from there we expanded in 2000 into Europe, and we now sail to a variety of destinations around the world. We are recognized as one of the top river lines. We have won many, many awards, and we're also one of the largest. We have 64 ships in our fleet. We have 40 ships that are brand new that are sailing in the European market as well. But what is a river cruise experience? What are you going to explore? Here you can see our fantastic staff, but we want to introduce you to some of the great destinations. And for me, that is the biggest difference between river cruising and ocean cruising. Ocean cruising nowadays has become such a destination in itself. The ships are amazing. They've got climbing walls and zip lines and bowling alleys and you name it. There's tons and tons of things to do on board. With river cruising, the ship is really your beautiful little boutique hotel that moves you along the river. It's got beautiful accommodation, but what we're really about is taking you into the destination and truly immersing you in it, to touch and taste and feel and smell the bread and the pastries baking in the bakeries, to be able to walk in the cobblestone streets and really immerse yourself by sitting in the cafes and enjoying the wine and the beer and the bratwurst and the pastries and the cappuccinos and just drinking it all in. We really want you to be immersed, and that's what we're doing. So we do take you there with our beautiful ships. Here you can see they're very open. They've got lots and lots of light and windows. You truly feel like the destination is wrapped around you. We have beautiful open decks where you can sit and relax or enjoy a casual meal. And the other thing about rivers that I really enjoy, for a lot of people, I know this is a priority, is that rivers are flat. It's a very smooth ride. We don't have to deal with the motion or the rolling that you find on ocean ships. Our challenge with rivers is that water levels do fluctuate, and we do have contingency plans to manage those. The advantage Viking has is that we have a large fleet of identical ships. They sail in opposite directions on all of our itineraries, giving us the flexibility that if the water levels are a little bit too high, it means we don't have to make you eat more in order to make it heavier, to squeeze under bridges, and if it's low, we don't have to put you on a diet to make it lighter so that we can squeeze, so that we can get off the sandbars. So we do have a little bit of flexibility with the ships, and we actually do a passenger swap from ship to ship, and you go back into an identical stateroom on an identical ship. We do own and operate all of our product, and we have great staff members on board to look after you. They all speak English. They are all, in most cases, from the area that we travel through. So they bring a lot of personal stories and the personal experience and lots of tips that are really wonderful to have when you set out to explore in some of these lovely little places that we visit. We do have a concierge that is there to help you, whether it's for just to reconfirm your airline tickets, or maybe you want a private driver and guide, or maybe you want theater tickets, or maybe you want to go and try a lovely restaurant in town. They are available to help you with all of this, just like they would do in a hotel. The advantage we have here is that it's all complimentary. So what does a river cruise involve? What does it include? Well, we include meals and accommodation. We include a shore excursion in almost every single port of call that we visit. We include Wi-Fi. We include bottled water in your staterooms, and as you go out on tour, we include beer, wine, and soft drinks with lunch and dinner, and sparkling wine at breakfast if you would like to start your day with a mimosa. We also include a 24-hour self-serve coffee, tea, and cappuccino bar, and there are always snacks available there as well. So it's a fantastically inclusive experience. What is not included are beverages like soft drinks and alcohol outside the meal service. We don't include those because a lot of guests say to us, you know what, we are going to be off the ship. We don't drink a lot during the day, and we really don't want to pay the premiums for that. So what we've done is we have a beverage package which you can purchase in advance. If you like cocktails, this is a good way to go. It is available in advance to make it all-inclusive. Or we have a no corkage policy. So when you're traveling with us and you want to bring some duty-free with you, if you want to pick up lovely wine or beer along the river, by all means do that and bring it on board, and we will, you can take it to the dining room, to the lounge. You can enjoy it in your room, on your balcony, up on the deck, wherever you would like. There's no issues and no charges. We don't include gratuities either, and we've done that again to give you some flexibility and also to allow you to tip based on your own experience. So we do have a suggested range. It works out on our ships in Europe at about €14 per person per day. That takes care of our entire crew, and you can designate what you would like by putting an amount on a credit card or putting cash into an envelope, and it is a private transaction or private experience. I'm sorry, everyone. I also have, we also don't include optional tours. Excuse me. Hello, I'm sorry, I'm on another line. Can you call back? And we also don't include optional tours, which are above and beyond the tours that we include. So what do we include in terms of when I talk about that cultural enrichment? We include lectures. We do lectures on board on talking about history, local customs. We talk about current affairs. We bring on local entertainers and dancers. We have concerts and local cultural demonstrations. We do destination movies. We do cooking demonstrations. And we also take you to visit villages and schools. Depending on where we're traveling, we do a lot of work in the communities of some of the destinations that we travel to. We also, with our shore excursions, a lot of people ask me, how do you manage that? Well, we break our groups up into small groups of about 10 to 15 that go out with a guide, and we do walking tours, and so they tend to be anywhere from 2 to 2.5 hours. Some of them do include some coach travel, depends on how far away some of the sites are that we want to see. We have our own branded coaches as well, so you'll always find your way back to a Viking coach. But we do those each day in each port of call that we visit. We have optional tours for those who want to take it one step further. Maybe there's a specific museum you want to see, or maybe there's a wine tasting experience above and beyond what we're already doing. So those are available. We also tour in the small groups, and we work with an audiobook system, which is a wireless connection to your guide. So that means you can walk at your own pace, you can look in a window, and you can still hear what's going on. So it's a fantastic way to tour. If you've ever done other tours where you're huddled around a guide and you're always in a hurry up and wait experience, it's difficult. Now, some of the things that we also do is take you that one step further, a little bit deeper into the experience of the destination. We do that through a variety of things. We are going to take you to some of the great sites, but we also want you to enjoy some of the local experiences. And if you're like me, you enjoy getting to know some of the locals. I like to peek in people's homes. So one of the things that we do have in some places are home visits, where we have host families that will invite our guests in small groups. They'll host us for, sometimes tea, sometimes in Russia it's vodka. They've made homemade cookies and snacks, and you really get a chance to talk with them and to see a little bit beyond what we all see just on the surface of a destination. We also have private and privileged access into certain monuments. Sometimes that's behind the scenes at the Hermitage in St. Petersburg. It could be access to the Lefkowitz Palace in Prague. This might be something that appeals to you as well. We also have private access into, or early access into, many of the museums. For example, we get to go into the Hermitage, usually first, as one of the first groups that go in. So you go in before the crowds. We do this also in Xi'an at the Terracotta Warriors. Our groups, when I was on tour with them, we went in about a half an hour before all the other groups. It allowed us to go in and be able to see without the crowds, and this is something that you get with Viking. And then we also have opportunities for you to mix with the kids, whether it's through some of our Viking-sponsored schools in China or in Vietnam and Cambodia, or even with some of the orphanages that we're working with in some of the places like Burma. So these are other opportunities that just take you that little bit beyond the just the general destination experience. Now, a lot of people ask me, what does it look like on a ship? What does it feel like? What kind of day do you have? So this gives you a quick idea, and hopefully you can see it, but you can see that it can be very busy if you like. We start off with cafe breakfast. If you want an early riser's breakfast with pastries and coffee, that's available. You can sit out on the deck and enjoy the view. We do have a full sit-down breakfast if you would like. We have a city tour that goes out. This is a typical day in Vienna. You can come back to the ship for lunch, or if you would like, by all means, stay on board, and we will have you can have lunch in port. We have an afternoon free, so you can go and explore a bit, maybe take an optional tour, maybe do some shopping, maybe go to some of the wonderful museums. You may even want to come back and go shopping with the chef at the market. We have always in the evening usually between 5:30 and 7:30, we have cocktail hour. Between 6:30 and 7:30, we often have a daily briefing where the captain and the hotel director will come and talk about what's coming up for the next day. We do dinner, and it's open seating, so guests can come and sit with whoever they would like. And then in Vienna, we have an optional tour for music, so that's something else you may want to take in. And then we have a late night snack, so it just gives you an idea of what the day looks like. We also want to immerse you with the food, and we have wonderful opportunities to introduce you to the local cuisine through locally sourced food. As you can see, you can go and shop with the chef in some of the markets. We have organic and healthy choice options. We have local. We do also have what we call I call it comfort food. They're always available, which are steak, Caesar salad, salmon, and chicken available for you to on every single evening menu. So if the local specialties aren't appealing to you, we also have some backup for you as well. We do, and so we give you a range. We also have a vegetarian entree on each menu, as well as sugar-free desserts and choices. So if you do have dietary needs, please let us know in advance, and we will then be prepared when you come ashore or come aboard. So what do our ships look like? They're a little bit smaller than the ocean ships that you've enjoyed. You can see here they're very low, and they're also quite narrow. We do pass through quite a large series of locks that take us actually over the continental divide through a series of 40 locks. And so we do need to be narrow because these are there's not a lot of clearance. The ships are low also because in Europe in particular, we pass through quite a few low bridges. And when when the water levels are a bit high, it means that we sometimes do have to close the upper deck for sometimes a couple of days. So I want you guys to be aware of that. It depends on water levels and the number of bridges we pass through on the Main-Danube Canal. The reason we built the beautiful Aquavit terrace at the bow of the ship is to give you always a place where you can view when that upper deck does have to be closed. We actually literally have to strip it of furniture and fold down all of the railings in order to squeeze through in some cases. I actually just saw a picture today where we literally had less than 2 inches to clear the bridge. So those are some of it. Also, I want you to know that with these river ships, they don't dock like ocean ships. Ocean ships dock tip to tail. River ships dock like a raft, side by side. So when you go into a busy port like Vienna or Budapest or even Cologne, you may find that our ships are docked side by side, and not just with our ships, with Viking ships, but possibly with some of our competitors as well. So guests will walk through each ship to the pier. Viking owns a lot of the docking space along the rivers of Europe, so we do often have that priority docking space near the pier or near the right on the dock, but just be aware that there are going to be times when you might wake up, open up your curtains, and you can shake hands with the people next door in the ship next door. So just be aware of that when you're planning, and and know that that can sometimes happen. So let's take a look at the interior of the ship. So you can see the beautiful entrance lobby, beautiful Scandinavian decor, kind of understated, lots of windows, which really brings the destination in to enjoy. We have a little ship's library with an internet. It's kind of an internet cafe. We've got laptops there if you prefer not to bring your own, and we also have wireless connections throughout the ship so that you can use your tablets or whatever you would like. We have a lovely bar area that has big open windows throughout, and it's a central, kind of the heart of the ship where people like to meet and mingle. On the upper deck, you can see we have an herb garden. We have some little putting green. There's a walking track, and we also, just beyond the railing, have solar panels. Our ships are green technology, and they do operate about 50% of the time on electricity. So you can see the solar panels there that help contribute to that. Lots of seating on the upper deck for you to enjoy. And then as you go into the dining room, you'll find tables for 4, 6, and 8. Big windows, again, to enjoy, and a lovely selection of food. In the Aquavit Lounge, we do have a casual dining area. So here you can enjoy a casual breakfast, lunch, or grilled dinner. The walls, you can see the windows are opened up onto the front deck, but those also have sliding glass walls that will allow us to close this up if it's a little bit cooler. So if you're traveling in October and you find that's a little bit cooler, you may find those windows are closed, but you still have that beautiful view and that lovely canopy above. If you like, you can sit out on the deck and enjoy either a glass of wine or maybe a light meal right at the bow of the ship. I wanted you to see the deck plan because this will give you a better idea how big they are. They're very tiny. We have only 90 95 staterooms on board these vessels, so they do fill up very quickly with a range of staterooms. So I'm going to just take you quickly through what they look like. Our Explorer Suite is the largest. It's 445 square feet. It has a private sitting area, private bedroom, and it has a big, beautiful wraparound balcony. Our Veranda Suite is 2 rooms. We have a private bedroom and a sitting room, as you can see, that steps out onto a full veranda. Our veranda stateroom is 205 square feet. It does have a step-out veranda. Beds can be split, by the way, and there's lots and lots of storage space. Each of our staterooms does have a safe and a refrigerator, as well as beautifully appointed bathrooms and all the amenities, including hair dryers. Our French balcony is a little bit smaller. You can't actually step out of this one, but it does open up. It has a full wall of windows, and the beds, again, can be split. It has lots of storage space, so even though it seems like it might be small when you step in, everything goes away, and it actually is a very efficient and very comfortable stateroom. And then, of course, we have our standard stateroom, which has the high window, and this is also a lovely room, but it does is a little bit bigger, but it also has that higher window, and it sometimes, when we're docked against the walls, is a little bit like being in a basement apartment. So you've got a range of staterooms and a range of prices to look at. But let's go in and talk a little bit about the destinations, and particularly about the itinerary that Barry and Marion are looking to, are planning to host next October. Here is a map, which I think is always helpful. I have cruised around the outside of many of these countries, but when I looked at this map, what I love is that you see at a glance the incredible river system that runs through Europe and some of the other destinations that we go to. You can literally sail from the North Sea almost right down to the Black Sea by river in Europe. It's a fantastic system, and so we are going to talk about taking you from Amsterdam to Budapest. We also have itineraries in France. We have itineraries in Portugal. We go into Russia. We also are now going back to doing an itinerary that goes between Kiev and Odessa, not into the area, not the Crimea, none of the area where there have been challenges between the Ukrainians and the Russians. We're well away from that area. We also go to Vietnam, Cambodia, and Burma, as well as China. So I'm going to whet your appetite a little bit with the Grand European, and I'm also going to give you a little taste of China just as an alternate, because there are some really wonderful destinations to explore. Here we have the Grand European, and this is the one that we're going to be talking about today. This one is going to take you from, you can either go from Budapest to Amsterdam, or you can go vice versa. And it takes in quite a range of incredible places. So we're going to start off in Budapest. This is Budapest, kind of an overview, and it is a fantastic destination. On the far right, you can see where our ships are docked, just beyond the Chain Bridge. You're right in the heart of the city, so you can see what a wonderful experience this is. On the left-hand side of the photograph, you have the Buda Castle, and on the right-hand side, you have the city of Pest. The Danube River runs right through the heart of the city, and at one time it was 2 cities, one called Buda and one called Pest. They're now part of, obviously, joined together. Our ships dock on the Pest side, which is closest to the market and the old pedestrian streets. And you also have this incredible view. What I love about this photograph is it gives you that sense of arriving and departing in Budapest. Everything is lit. It's lit at night, and we usually arrive or depart about 10 o'clock at night. So you get this incredible ride into the city with everything lit, all the bridges, all the monuments, all of the beautiful palaces along the river as you come in. So it really is a spectacular place. Now, we do stay overnight here. You're going to have an opportunity to do a city tour, and our tours are also broken up into different groups. So you can take a leisurely group, a more active group. You could even go and take local transportation with the guide in an up-close type tour. So we've got a variety of options available for you, and you'll have a chance, if you like, to go and enjoy some Hungarian music, maybe have lunch ashore, maybe even go and shop with the chef. From there, we're going to move on to Vienna, and Vienna is, I think, my favorite city in Europe. What you're looking at here is the entrance to the Schönberg Palace, which was the summer palace of the Hofburgs. Now, Budapest and Vienna were the two capitals of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The royal family used to go back and forth between the two cities, but Vienna was truly the center. The Hofburg Palace is located in the center of the city, and it spans about 6 blocks. There's no royalty living there anymore, but it is an amazing place to walk through it, and that will be part of our tour. Here you will find museums and art galleries now. You will also find it the home of the Lipizan Stallions, as well as the Viennese Boys Choir. And we do have access to concerts with the Viennese Boys Choir, and if you're on board, our concierge can possibly get you tickets to see the Lipizan Stallions performing. The great thing about this itinerary is we spend 2 days here. We've got the city tour, half-day city tour on one day, afternoon free to explore. We have a variety of options if you would like. And then we have a full free day. So if you would like to go to the Viennese Woods, or you want to go to Schönberg, or if you want to go and just walk and enjoy the city, maybe you want to go and listen to a concert, that's available. We also do have an optional concert in the evening, which takes you to a private presentation of Mozart's Figaro, which is amazing. So if you like, these are all available, and Vienna is infused with music. It's where the waltz was invented by Strauss. This is where Mozart spent a lot of time composing, as did Beethoven and many of the other great composers. One of the other things that I love to do here is to go to one of the coffee houses. You will be amazed by the beautiful window displays of chocolate and pastries as you walk through Vienna. So please go in and try some of it. There's a number of fabulous places, including the Sacher Hotel, known for the special chocolate cake, or Demmel's, which is just amazing to go in and just look at. But I dare you not to try something while you're there. As we leave Vienna, we're going to sail along the Wachau Valley of Austria. Here you're going to find the castles of Austria. You can see one up on the very top of that hill, just in the background in the center of the photograph. But here you also will find the wine growing area of Austria. And actually what you're looking at right now is just adjacent to the village of Krem, which is one of the stops we make. And these are vineyards that are owned by the gentleman, by the vintner who blends and bottles the wine that we serve as our house wine on board our ships. So you may even be able to do a little wine tasting in this particular area as well. As we move on, we're going to stop in the village of Passau. And Passau is a really beautiful city. I'm looking for a new photograph because the old city is situated right smack in the middle of the river, and it's the entrance, or actually it's the river it's a convergence of 3 rivers, the Ilz, the Inns, and the Danube, and they say here is where the Danube turns blue. There are actually 3 rivers, and you can clearly see the demarcation of the colors when you get up to this castle that we're actually standing at right here. And the other thing that I love, one of the really great things about Passau is that the cathedral there, St. Stephen's Cathedral, has the oldest and the largest pipe organ in Western Europe. And if you like, you'll have an opportunity to enjoy about an hour concert of the pipe organ in the cathedral. So if pipe organs is not your cup of tea, sit near the door. I do encourage you to at least go and listen, because it is fantastic. The acoustics is just amazing. If it doesn't appeal to you, then you can sneak out. There's lots of things to see and do in Passau. It's one of my favorite little villages along the river. One of the other places we visit is Regensburg, and Regensburg is now into Germany. And we do a great walking tour. This photograph was taken during the Christmas markets, but this was the home of Pope Benedict. He was the Archbishop here, and the cathedral that you see in the background was his home. And while he was at the Vatican, he used to have his chocolates sent from the little chocolate shop just beyond the city gates that you see, and he would have those sent to the Vatican for him, so you can go and check that out as well. This is also the home of the oldest sausage kitchen. So just if you look towards the cathedral, and just below it, you'll see a little house that has just sort of lights beside that white building. That is the oldest sausage kitchen, and I really encourage you to go and check that out. Maybe have lunch. The sausages are about the size of your little finger. You order them by the dozen, and it's really a fun place to explore. And then we move into Nuremberg, and Nuremberg, of course, is famous for the World War II history. Here you can see just a post-war photograph of the old market, and it was almost completely flattened. You can see, and they when they spoke to the city, the citizens of the city, they said after the war, what would you like us to do? Would you like us to rebuild in a modern way, or would you like us to rebuild as it was? And they actually found the old city maps, and they rebuilt it as it was. So it's fantastic to go and see. This is part of the restoration that you see. But of course, Nuremberg is known not just for the old part of the city, but of course for the rise of the Nazi Party. This was where Hitler would come, and he would hold his Nazi Party rallies. So a fantastic place to learn and see about that particular part of history. We then start to move through the lovely medieval villages of the Upper Danube and the Main River. One of the places we visit is Bamberg, and Bamberg is famous for this city hall that's in the center of the river, and also for the smoked beer. So if you want to check that out, one of the things that's fun to do along the river is to try some of the local cuisine, and one of the fun things to do here is the smoked beer. We also are going to bring on artisans who will come on board and share some of their skills. One of those is the glass blower that you'll find along this part of Germany, and they're the ones that are making these beautiful hand-blown Christmas ornaments and lovely blown glass. So we have a glass blower that actually comes right on board, and you'll have a chance in Miltenberg to see that. And then we start to sail through the Middle Rhine, and this is where you'll find all the incredible castles of the Rhine. There are 40 of them. Many of them are privately owned or are under the private ownership. But one of the ones we get to see is Marksburg Castle, and it's a 700-year-old castle that was never conquered, and it now belongs to the state as a museum. It was owned by the same family for almost 700 years, till the mid-50s, and so it's an amazing castle to explore. It has a dungeon and torture equipment and ballrooms, and it's fantastic. So you'll get a chance to see what it was like to live in a truly medieval castle. We also stop in Cologne, and Cologne is, of course, a beautiful, one of the larger cities in Germany, but it's well known for this beautiful cathedral called the Dome. It's the largest Gothic cathedral in Europe, and it also was one of the last buildings and only building standing after the Second World War. The rest of the city was more or less flattened, so it was something that the Allies really were careful to bomb around. The old medieval part of the city is just adjacent and is just across the street from where our ship docks. We stay overnight in Cologne as well as Vienna and Budapest. And here you'll have a chance to go, if you like, on a pub crawl. I think that's always a fun thing that I love to do. After dinner, we can walk across the street to the old medieval part of the city, and we can do a little bit of beer tasting in some of the wonderful little brew houses along the medieval streets. Cologne is also famous for chocolate. There's a chocolate museum for wine growing of this area, and also it is where the first perfume was invented. So you can go to the museum there and learn about the fragrance that you can still buy called 4711. So some great things there to look at. And then we also will visit and start to learn a little bit about the history of the windmill and the value of the windmill. And here at this World UNESCO Heritage Park is Kinderdijk, you will have a chance to explore and learn about these incredible windmills that you see. There's not a lot of the old ones still left, but these are actually occupied by families, and they can live there for free as long as they restore and maintain and operate the windmills. And the windmills in Holland are actually there to pump the water out and literally keep the land above the sea, because Holland is actually below sea level. And then we end up in Holland and in Amsterdam, which is an amazing city for exploration. I do encourage you to take some extra time here. We only arrive, and you'll obviously disembark the next day, but you've got these incredible canals. You've got these old merchant houses. There are amazing museums, the Rijksmuseum, Van Gogh Museum, the Anne Frank House. wonderful food. Jamie Oliver has a wonderful restaurant here, and of course, great shopping in this city as well. So we do have some ways for you to extend your vacation. Um, One of those is in Amsterdam as a pre-cruise or a post-cruise. Obviously, if you're going in the opposite direction, you can stay a little bit longer, and you will include 2 nights, a daily breakfast as well as a walking tour, and then we also will provide the transfers for you from the ship to the hotel. If you'd like to stay a bit longer in Budapest, sorry, I reversed these, Barry. I had your itinerary reversed when I was doing this. So you can go in a bit early and spend a bit early time in Budapest. And again, same kind of thing. Or you can actually, from Budapest, you can go to Prague, and you can have a chance to spend a couple of days in Prague to enjoy the red Canny Castle that you see in the distance. Prague is an amazing city for exploring. I absolutely loved it. It was one of the first of the Eastern Bloc countries to be more westernized. A lot of film studios went into film here. Amadeus was filmed here, as well as a lot of movies, and it really is beautifully restored and great fun. So I'm going to quickly take you through China, just because Barry had told me that you guys might be interested a little bit in something a bit more exotic, and maybe just to plant the seed for the future. This is a fantastic trip that I did when I first joined Viking about 5-6 years ago. It's a cruise tour, so it's not entirely on the river. We do 2 nights in Shanghai. We fly to, or we join the ship and sail through the Three Gorges Dam. We then disembark the ship in Chongqing, and we fly to Xi'an, and then we join, and then we fly on to Beijing. So let's take a quick look at what you can experience here. We have, we'll start off in Shanghai or Beijing, depending. I'm going to start in Shanghai at this point. You can see this is the Pudong district. We're viewing it from the Bund, which is a beautiful promenade that runs along the river. The Pudong area is brand new. 10 years ago, there was nothing there but a swamp, and now it's built into this beautiful, really modern center. Shanghai was one of the first and one of the main trading centers for China, which was completely closed to foreigners, really until this century, or the previous century. It was very close. So a lot of the traders came, and they set up districts or communities in Shanghai to trade with China. And so it has a great history. It is a very cosmopolitan city, and even today is incredibly modern. So you'll get a chance to learn about the history, as well as to enjoy a little bit of modern China, and also some of the great cultural experiences like the Shanghai acrobats. From there, you'll join our ship, and you can see it's a little bit different than our river ships in Europe. It's a little bit higher because we don't have the bridges. It's all verandas, and it's very, very comfortable. We will stop along the river. We'll see the Three Gorges Dam. We'll learn about that. It's the largest dam in the world, and it has displaced about 1 million people into brand new cities that they built along the river. One of the fun things that we do that I loved is to visit one of the schools that Viking helps to sponsor in some of the more rural and poorer areas of China. A lot of these kids would be out in the fields working. They wouldn't be at school if we weren't able to help to contribute in the community. And these kids are learning English. They love to practice their English, and they're very patient if we like to practice our very bad Mandarin. But it's really fun. They perform, we sing, and we just had a great morning. So if you take this, it's really a wonderful experience. We will also visit the Three Gorges Dam, which is gorgeous. This is why people sail along the Yangtze River. Up in the hills, you're going to see caves with coffins that date back to the Ba civilization of 2,000 years ago. You'll see monkeys playing along the riverbank, and you'll also get some pretty dramatic photographs as you sail through this gorge area. In addition, you're going to see the changes that have happened along the Yangtze River Valley with these brand new cities that have sprung up, and also the contrast again between the little villages and these incredible new cities. We will disembark the ship, and we will explore Xi'an. We'll spend 2 nights here. The highlight, of course, here is the terracotta warriors. These are the 6 foot to 6'5" warriors that were built out of clay. They were built by Emperor Qin about 2,000 years ago, and he created this army to protect him in the transition from this life to the next. He was the emperor that linked the 10 kingdoms of China together and built the Great Wall. And he did this, he came to power about 13, he started to build his army, and when he died about 40, they literally sealed it up. And at the time there were 8,000 warriors. There were full-sized chariots and horses. There were full-sized archers and a full arsenal of weapons. It was an incredible army, and it has been an incredible find. They've only uncovered about 1,000 of them to date. So it's there, and they were fully colored. They had blue and red uniforms. They had flesh-colored faces and black hair. Every single face is different. They say they were patterned after his real army. And then from there we will go up. You'll have a chance to walk along the Great Wall, which was an amazing experience. Here you can see my husband and I as it was a little chilly. It was March. You can see a little bit of snow sitting on the wall, but oh my God, it was an amazing experience. So if that's on your bucket list, I really recommend to go and do it. It was such a thrill to see it sneaking along the peaks of these hills. These mountains, really. At one time, 1 million soldiers guarded this wall. It's fascinating. And then we also visit the Forbidden City, and Tiananmen Square is just in the very top of the photograph that you see here, and that at one time can hold over 1 million people. But the Forbidden City is breathtaking. You go through it. It takes about 3 hours to walk through. It's a city within a city, and it was really not ever opened. It wasn't opened until I think it was the 60s or the 70s, where real Chinese people could even come into it. It was totally closed, and now it's really opened up so people can learn about this incredible dynasty or series of dynasties over the centuries from China. This was a thrill for me to step in because I had studied so much about it. So I want to just let you know that we do have a lot of other places to explore. We've got a variety of different destinations in Europe, and they can be added or shortened depending on what you're interested in. We go to Portugal. Russia was an amazing experience last year that I enjoyed. And in China, we also do some extensions, as well as Vietnam, Cambodia, and Myanmar, which are fantastic. So I wanted to just bring you back to the hosted group that Barry is promoting. This is a special departure that he has negotiated with us with some special fares. It leaves October 6th and sails until the 22nd in 2006, so about a year from now. October is one of my favorite times to travel in this part of Europe, because of all the festivals that are going on. You've got Oktoberfest, you've got the harvesting of the wine. You're going to get a chance to try some of the first pressing of the wine called Feta Weisse as you're sailing down along the Rhine and the Danube. And you'll also, it's always served with Zwiebelkuchen, which is an onion tart. And you can only find it in the early part of October and late September. So you guys are going to be going through the best time, I think, as the leaves are starting to change and the weather is beautiful and crisp. It's a lot like Vancouver. So we do have some wonderful pricing. Talk to Barry and he can help you decide. But we have the verandas that I showed you that have the step-out balcony. We have the French balconies, and these are just on different decks with the floor-to-ceiling wall of windows that open but you can't step out, and then we have our standard stateroom with the half window that I showed you. So depending on what you think is going to be the best for you, we've got options for you. We also have some great airfares available for you from Winnipeg, Ottawa, Toronto, Vancouver, and Calgary. So you've got some options there. Talk with Barry and he'll be happy to, they'll be able to help you make the right decision. If you're looking at any of our other destinations, we do offer our pricing in Canadian dollars. And now, the group that Barry has, because he's got clients on both sides of the border, he's priced in US, but we do, if you talk to him, there are some Canadian options for you. We are offering right now a $700 off per person for our international air. It must be booked by September 30th, and final payment does vary depending. If you're taking the air, most of the time it's going to be October 31st for final payment. Payments can be, Even if you've made full payment, it's fully refundable up to 4 months prior to departure, and it's just $100 per person non-refundable administration fee. So you're not at risk, but you can take advantage of some really great savings. Deposit for either is $500 per person. So where in the world would you like to travel with us? I'm going to just throw out one more question, and feel free. Hopefully I've intrigued you a little bit. And hopefully I've given you some information about some of the key destinations that we travel to. I will tell you something that I've become passionate about river cruising. As much as I still love ocean cruising, the immediacy, the immersion in the destination, the personal experience you have on these small ships, the center of the sort of heart of the city access is something that once you've tried it, you will come back again and again and again. So let me throw this question to you, and feel free to let us know where you want to go, and that'll help Barry and his team to contact you and talk with you about what the options are. I know there's a lot of choice there. And believe me, I've done almost all of these itineraries, and they are all fantastic. So once you get started, you'll be coming back to try some of the other ones. There's a lot of wonderful experiences here. So I'm just going to give you a couple more seconds, and then I'm going to close it up. And if you've got any questions, I hope you've typed them into the question box, and I will be happy to answer those now that we're completed, and give you a chance to enjoy. So I'm going to close it off now, and I'm just going to throw it up. It looks like you've got a lot of people who want to go with you, Barry. There's a lot of people interested in the Grand European, so I know you guys are going to absolutely enjoy it, and I hope that you will come and join us. So I want to say thank you so much for taking the time with me this evening. I know this is kind of an interesting way to do things, but I do appreciate the time, and I hope that I've inspired you a little bit, and I hope that we'll have an opportunity to come and enjoy come and sail with us, because we'd love to look after you and show you this incredible part of the world. So if anybody's got questions, just feel free to type them in to the question area, and I will just stay online for a few minutes, and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you.
Thank you, Kim. I think that was a fantastic presentation. I know I really enjoyed it. Just a couple of closing points. These rates are firm, and they're nicely discounted. The rates have gone up since we established these, but space is not assured. And from my experience, I've talked to a lot of people who have done river cruising, and particularly with Viking, they book well in advance, and they could be completely booked many months before sailing. So this is not something that you can just put off to the last minute and decide. The airfares certainly are very competitive at this time of year. When I compare to, I remember flying to Europe in the 70s, and it wasn't much different. So I think it's a very attractive fare to be able to get over there. And remember, if you're planning to go on a cruise, it's a lot of fun when you get to go with another couple. So if you have a friend that you think might enjoy, tell them about it, and certainly we'd be happy to be in contact with them. Now, if you don't have our information, you can contact us. Our website is HotWinters.ca. Our phone number is 1-800-506-7675. You can just give us a call, shoot us an email. You can register on our website if you're not already on our contact list, and we'll keep in touch with you. And we hope that you will be interested in joining us in this once-in-a-lifetime epic voyage experience. Thank you very much for coming, and look forward to any questions that you have, and feel free to give us a call.
Great. Well, I don't see any questions, and you've done a great job, so I'm going to wrap it up. And as I say, I have recorded it, so you'll be able to share this with some of